Generation Zero, by Systemic Reaction, is set in an alternate 1989 Sweden, where violent robots have overrun the country. These robots range from small scouting drones to towering behemoths that dwarf houses. Players take on the role of a Swedish teenager who returns from a trip to find the local population mysteriously vanish, leaving only their robots in their wake. As you struggle to survive in the unforgiving Swedish wilderness, you need to uncover the truth behind the disappearing of the locals while fending off relentless machines. This game has much more depth than I originally expected from a first-person shooter centered around battling robots. I only played for about 3 hours, but I was already surprised by the variety of activities and the mechanics that kept me engaged. The controls are solid for a first-person shooter, although I did notice that there is no option for separate X and Y sensitivity settings on console, and there are occasionally moments where your controls feel unresponsive, such as crouching, requiring you to press the button a few times for it to actually register. The difficulty curve is generally forgiving unless you charge into combat unprepared against a large group of enemies. Robots typically don't enter buildings, which makes taking cover inside a structure a very viable strategy, making city combat relatively easy. The achievements are mostly straightforward, involving different weapons or destroying specific types of robots. However, some of the collectibles seem like they might take a significant time investment, and certain other achievements requiring progression with a second character. The game looks good overall, but it's clear that it's from 2019. It doesn't push any graphical boundaries, but it still creates a convincing world that feels immersive enough. I experienced a few minor stutters and frame drops, but nothing game-breaking. The issues were quite infrequent and didn't hinder my overall experience. I also noticed that anytime I gained experience, the game notified me that I had leveled up, even after I had spent the skill point for that level. The compass could be a bit finicky at times, and I found it somewhat frustrating due to its lack of accuracy. The music fits the action-packed moments, but it's not particularly memorable. During combat, it enhances the tension, but it doesn't exactly have you bobbing your head to the rhythm. It's not something you'll notice too much, but it also doesn't detract from the experience. The gun sounds are surprisingly realistic. There's a noticeable difference in acoustics when firing indoors versus outdoors. However, there are instances where it's difficult to pinpoint the direction of certain sounds. The dialogue can often be too quiet even when standing next to the speaker. The sound of being chased by a machine is genuinely terrifying, potentially leaving me with a couple of nightmares. We are somehow unfortunately paired with one of the most useless characters in all of Sweden. The voice acting is often flat and unremarkable, though some well-done audio logs do add a bit of intrigue to the world. The atmosphere is one of the game's strong suits. It immerses you in a post-apocalyptic setting, with abandoned homes being repurposed for doomsday prep and armories. The absence of human bodies is strange, though some of this is explained by the plot, leaving a sense of eerie mystery hanging over the world. Replayability mostly hinges on your desire to either play through with a friend or to work towards achievements that require playing through with multiple characters. The experience feels extended enough that you could easily spend a lot of time exploring and crafting, but there's not much incentive for multiple playthroughs other than that. Some pros. The environment feels alive. Even its emptiness enhances the game's atmosphere. There's plenty to keep you entertained with an easy-to-understand crafting system and straightforward collection mechanic. And the gunplay is satisfying and fluid. Some cons. Character customization is quite limited, though there are a lot of clothing options to unlock as you progress. Minor audio and visual glitches are present, but they don't significantly detract from the experience. While the plot has potential, the lackluster voice acting makes it harder to fully immerse yourself in the story. Generation Zero is an enjoyable action survival game that will appeal to fans of open-world shooters with a post-apocalyptic twist. If you're looking forward to a relatively chill yet engaging adventure, this game delivers. However, be prepared to dedicate a considerable amount of time if you plan to complete everything the game has to offer. The sandbox elements also provide a very fun multiplayer experience. While I would typically rate this game a 5 out of 10, I will bump it up to a 6 due to its lasting appeal and the time it's bound to occupy.